Madi TV. Parane vozodri e.
Big boy on the beat.
Every now and then I think of you. Then I can't get you off my mind. I swear something different about you. Yeah, baby, I don't wanna fuck. Looking at the window of your sofa, I see you got a lot to show. You're nice, you're wise, you're kind. Looking at the body of the sofa, I see you got a lot to show. Girl, you're wise, you're smart, looking fine. Girl, you're brighten up my day. Would you come and light my place? Girl, you can be replaced. Girl, your heart is filled with grace. Got me changing up my ways. Girl, you know I really want you to stay. Can't get him on. Nothing can compare when I'm with you. I can never hope you feel it too. Nothing can compare when I'm with you. I can never hope you feel it too. The uni, the movie, the hip pick, and a diamond, the fake it, Ruhi, I've got
Madi TV. Parane vozodri e.
Anjo kwa simazi yang itu achiri sila katwado karangi la karniga ma program ya jirang ni maruni garrison na mudai mala makwa ngini background kangwa do chaki for a live ko program and rito ama to studio gama dia mua ama di bana masa kwa laka kana di benjera ke gangwa do for clarification purposes and ama vamata ezulo sitima didi sikwa nyeso babanda kareba kilosis bati ay madiko ngo madita ezuro esanyi so bakuchi madiki madizi nyeso kan express madisi express ama dupina kwereri ke akata jolo sitimundo disi ke akuduki unzeneko akuduki kenele tudaneko arisikwa na student colleagues sa isa ha ilosi juruga ngora ke kere takizo arbati somanjo anyoposi maruni majokarani garrison amudai so atijo adorni hama messages of condolences ando ba jumani garni timadi community entirely ni arisikwa mbago amadimo sese alini ajini opingwani pi akileki so policy opiko kwa na familia ni asilimba ani debu yado bachido no temam di bananjereko ki on behalf of Madi TV we want to send our messages of condolences to his family manjo and your bossy. Yes, brother Emmanuel Amoy, you are welcome to Madi TV. This is the first time you are joining us, so it is privilege to host you here. I'll give this time to you to introduce yourself to us.
Okay. Yeah, once again, thank you. Thank you for having me here. I am by the names of Emmanuel Amoyo Alex Taban, a Madi, a proud Madi son, and a student in Rwanda, a student studying in Rwanda, doing the course of law in the University of Kigali Independent University, and also the chairman of Madi Students and Cultural Association in Rwanda. We, the Madi in Rwanda, are so honored to join you here in this life. Thank you.
Well, it's a very good profile because being a chairman of Madi Student Association in Kigali is not something very small. I congratulate you for that, and I hope you are doing good jobs. So we are honored to welcome you here. Our focus of discussion is going to be mostly about job market, and also we are going to talk about a little bit of leadership because sometimes leadership can start with the students, and then gradually you are going to become politicians. So we are going to cover all these areas. Yes. So you are coming from South Sudan. We are all coming from South Sudan. We know how South Sudan look like. How is it like job employment in South Sudan? I know soon you're going to graduate. How is the transition from the classroom to job hunting in South Sudan?
Well, in that question regarding the job hunting, because South Sudan is what I can say, something just brief about South Sudan, because also I've ever been there in South Sudan, and usually things work, things work like things work in this one. Nepotism, there is a lot of nepotism, more especially for a graduate. If you're a fresh graduate, if you don't have somebody like who you know, if you don't have that person that you know maybe in that position who can be able to link you, that means that you will just stay at home. There is nepotism and there is this a lot of things. So in that sector, I'm seeing most of the students, most of the fresh graduates are suffering due to nepotism in employment opportunities. Thank
You
you.
are telling me that in South Sudan, employment depend mostly on employment. I mean, on a nepotism.
Yeah,
So
who you know.
yeah. So,
Mm.
what are the many challenges students facing after completing their studies, maybe within the country or outside the country? As you're one of them.
Well, the challenges that we students we face. Sometimes you'll end up graduating and you'll graduate, but you'll have nothing to do. You'll have nothing to do because universities usually do not teach like a skill this one. Universities usually do not teach this one. This one is skill techniques. They usually just only emphasize on critical thinking. They usually rely on that side of critical thinking and research, most of the parts of research. But in country like South Sudan, we need this one. We need things like the vocational skills. That is what is mostly needed in a country like South Sudan.
Manjo kwasi anya America re mari ma Emmanuel Nisi leti of the challenges batiri lo si fongi ko ka dia don one of them ko ki fongira John Kongwe ki baru lo si we budiga challenges ki face kasi face rado or ka tejama yesu student ilosi or ki skill in vocational training student lo si yesu jongi di connection yo aruse kwa na so Sudan ge bukea runikasi ongolosi nepotism ne madiki simanja pe ki leti of the disi. Emmanuel Manjokosi, you talk about student I need some vocational training, but vocational training is like for someone who may be finished senior for in situation of South Sudan, but people like you who are going to graduate from high institutions like universities. Do you think universities are adequately preparing the student in search for employment? Because I mean, I have seen some cases of students coming from Uganda, they're those who finished from Makerere universities, but when they reach to country like Holland, most of these people could not even prepare their CV for job seeking. So do you think the universities are giving adequately, they are equipping you for going out for job employment?
What I can say on that, universities usually present a mixed bag when it comes to employment opportunities. And also the Ministry of Labor in South Sudan says that, universities are usually preparing students just only for white collar jobs. So what I can say, yeah, university is preparing us. University is preparing us for jobs. That's what I can say.
On your personal level, what are your expectations after going from here? Because you talk about universities are preparing students for white collar jobs. So what are your expectations? Are you going to land on the white collar jobs? And in case you fail to get the white collar job, what are the options for you to get yourself employment?
Well, then I will my expectations are very high, most especially if I'm to get done from here, because I'm looking forward also maybe to be in that side of the Ministry of Justice. But if I don't get, I will just end up going back to the village and farm, because also farming is also what we need in our country, South Sudan. That's what we need.
A country like South Sudan mostly depends on humanitarian organizations. And when you look at the numbers of students who are getting employment opportunities or people who are getting employment opportunity, mostly in a private sector like NGOs, UN-based organizations. So after the Trump administration decided to take away US aid, things have changed. So how confident are you, the final year student like you, going back to a country like South Sudan, that for sure you're going to get employment opportunities? Where the things are getting up and down, like most NGOs, they may be cut projects.
Well, like what the Trump administration has done, it has really affected us, and it has really also even destroyed our hopes, because most of the students even are having expectations on working on the non-governmental organizations. But since the Trump administration has stopped the funding, has stopped giving its aid like to most of the organizations, so it has really affected us. It has really affected us, and so what I can say there, it is this one. What I can say, I will just resort to this one, like entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is what I will resort to.
Going to join entrepreneurship is also require a lot of capitals. Not every student is going to be capable of getting that capital to start with. Okay, for your case, you're going to go for entrepreneurship. How about those who could not afford to get the capital to start?
Those who could not afford, maybe this one. For those who could not be able to afford it, then they will have to resort to trainings, and doing, like, there is some kind of training. So like some kind of training, if you end up engaging yourself in the training, maybe there will be a certain organization which will come and see your work, then they might be able to hire you, because there's some sorts of training that the organizations are carrying out in South Sudan there, the humanitarian organizations.
Yeah, in South Sudan is one of the countries that we not know the amount of jobs that were created in daily basis, because we don't have databases to indicate. But the neighboring country like Uganda, the youth unemployment is 78%. That is staggering very high. And with the strategy of South Sudan, I know some of you are maybe private students who were sponsored by their parents. Maybe there are some of you who got the government scholarship. Some of you maybe could be sponsored by the government of Rwanda. And each and every student have aspiration. Maybe some of the students could be medical doctors or maybe ICT officials, things like that. But given that in South Sudan we have a lot of shortages of job employment opportunities, how would this affect the career change? Because you talk about when you go back to South Sudan, in case you fail to get a job within the area of your study, you will result into entrepreneurship. And each and every one of us has a dream to be what we want to be. How would that affect you in your career?
Well, on that question, of course, like the lack of employment opportunity in a country like South Sudan is going to affect all of us. The lack of opportunity, not only me, also some of my colleagues from the various departments. It's also going to affect them, more especially people who are doing the computer courses. It's going to affect us. It's going to affect us really badly. But if you end up having a relative who can be able to sponsor you so that you can be able to start up something, maybe you can able to start up a small business, a printing place, more especially for the students of computer, they can also be able to help. Because sometimes if you put your hope relying on a white collar job or maybe even an office job, like, sometimes getting that office job, it is very hard. And if you continue on putting your hopes on that, you might end up becoming jobless, having nothing to do. You might end up having, like you might not even end up having a source of income, something that you can be able to support with yourself. So what I can tell them is, if they can be able to have, if they have a parent or maybe a relative, a brother, a uncle, a auntie who can be able to help them with something small so that they can be able to start up something small, it will be good.
Emmanuel, let me put this question in this way. When we are kids in the village in Lower, Pageri, wherever, and eventually when we came in Uganda into refugee camps in Ogujebe in 80s or 90s, during Christmas, you can see all the kids are wearing the same clothes because that is what the traders in Adjumani can bring to the markets. It looked like the type of clothes that people are wearing in northern Uganda is quite different from people who are living in Kampala. And so when you look at South Sudanese students, particularly the Madis, doesn't matter whether this is Madi from Uganda or Sudan, it looked like most of these students are going for ICT, they are going for procurements, they are going for business administrations, and yet in our area, we don't have industry that could employ people in this sector. So what are the most sectors in South Sudan that employ people?
The most sectors in South Sudan that employ people, it is usually this one. Like what I can say before the Trump administration, it is the humanitarian organizations. The humanitarian organization, that is the most sector that employs people, and banking and finance in my country, South Sudan.
And so when you study business administrations, it's most likely you're not going to get employment with the UN-based or humanitarian organization because most of these organizations are dealing with humanitarian support. And also maybe when you are somebody who studies social science, that way maybe you are going to be social workers. But if you study ICT and the competition is quite higher because the level of employment remains very poor,
Yeah.
What is your advice to the student coming after you, going to do the same courses that you and your colleagues would have done?
Well, what I can say is that the students who are coming, who are going to come after me here, the advice that I can be able to give them, let them be able to choose a course that is helpful, maybe even in the country, or something that is missing in the country, something that is missing, and also something that is marketable. Because no one wants to end up, graduating, then they end up staying at home. No one wants that. Even no parent want that. So let us choose our course carefully. Let's choose our course carefully.
Still along the area of job seeking, I remember between 2011, 2012, I'm living here in the Netherlands, but I sent more than 50 applications for job employment opportunities. That time around, there was austerity measures in Europe. Some of the applications I sent, I could not even get a phone call or things like that. And given the situation of South Sudan, maybe after when you finish from there, you're going to go. The interval between waiting after finishing and getting job could be a very long time. How are you going to be able to cope up? Because in between you don't have a finance support. In case you do not get anything, how are you going to be able to cope up?
Okay, thank you. How I can be able to cope up? Of course, I said even early in the beginning when we began the interview, things in South Sudan, how the system in South Sudan there works. It works on who you know. So if you don't know anybody, that one I'm just relating to what you said what you said about sending 50 applications. So the system in South Sudan there, it usually works on who you know. So if you don't know anybody, maybe in the office that you want to apply, you're sending your application, just know that maybe you might end up not receiving a phone call. I know maybe even your application might be thrown in the trash, in the trash bin. But what I can say on my side, if I end up not getting a job, I will stick to my point of resorting into farming.
Right. I wish you all the best for the farming. But let us talk
Thank you.
let us talk about this. I want to ask you personal question or direct question. Have you ever observed a student changing their career path because maybe they fail to get employment? For instance, let us say you study educations, but you could not get employment opportunity in teaching, and you decided to go for farming.
Yes.
How would this affect you financially because you are not yet prepared to sponsor yourself to go for farming?
Like I've come across students who have changed their courses, not even others even going into doing farming. Even in the university where I am right now, even I have students who change their courses from someone will be changing a course from civil engineering going to another department. Others they do change the course because they find the course where they have gone to do that course due to an influence from a friend. These things of peer influence. A person might end up changing a course going to a place where he or she is having his friend. So, and on my side, if I end up finishing from the law department, I know it will affect me. If I'm to go back to South Sudan, it will affect me thoroughly. If I'm to end up graduating from university here, and which I will be graduating this year in December, by God's grace, if I'm to end up graduating and I go back to South Sudan, then I do not get a job, I know it will affect me. It will affect me because I've not studied agriculture. I've not studied agriculture, but with research that I will be doing online or with the help of other people, because my mother is also a very good farmer. She's also a very good farmer. She's having her farm in Mali. So I'll be able to get the experience. I'll be able to gather some experience from them. Thank you.
Right. Let's now talk about the questions of connectivities. Network of getting job employment opportunities. In the beginning, I remember you said most of the job opportunity comes from nepotism. You have to know somebody or somebody will employ you because you're son of so and so.
Yes.
So to what extent do personal or family connection influence employment opportunity in South Sudan, since employment opportunities is not on merit, but rather on connection?
Well, this family connection plays a vital role, mostly if it comes to employment in a country like South Sudan. Like sometimes if you're to graduate, or if even if you don't graduate, if your family they know people in offices, or maybe they have the people that they are friends, they are good friends, or maybe even they have their sisters, or maybe even if your parents are having their sisters or their brothers working in good places, they might be able to influence that. They might be able to connect you. But if you don't have that, now you'll end up, seated at home, because in South Sudan, people are not employed due to this one. If you have a good certificate, or maybe on good merit, what you said.
A friend of mine, Mr. Alira William, who is climate expert in global warming expert in Juba, maybe you might have heard about him or you might have known him. Once when I hosted him here on topics of career guidance and job employment opportunities, he said, for you to get an employment, you need to be updated. What he meant by that is you don't have to give up. You have to dress nice, pretend that like you have a job, take your bag, carry your CV with you, go to those places, and you have to have internet connection. You have to have email address, because if you are not connected to all this, sometime NGOs or company will send you job interview opportunities, but since you're not connected, you are going to miss opportunities. So what professional advice are you going to give to those who lack tips for employment opportunities?
The tips that I can be able to give to them: one, you need to find good friends. You need to have influential friends who are influential or who their families are influential. You need to have them, because that and also will determine your destiny, maybe to finding your job, your dream job, or maybe even to find a job. And on the part of him saying that, you have to dress nice, yeah, it is also good. Also, one need to dress nice. You dress smartly wherever you're going, because somebody else might be able to see you. Somebody else might be able to see you, and they might be able to, from the way how you dress, they might be able to trust you with something, or even maybe with unemployment, they might be able to trust you with that because of the how you dress. That's why they say that, the how you dress is the how you'll be identified, or you'll be respected. Sometimes the how you carry yourself, you'll be respected. But if you keep on, working recklessly, people might not even be able to trust you. Even though there is a vacancy in a place, but the way how you dress, they cannot be able to trust you. But what I can say is building good friends. You need to build good friends who can be able to take you higher.
This tip could help you. I have a friend who is from Mali. He was my friend from LRSS. We are the pioneers of LRSS, of course, in the 90s. And also we are from the same church member. His name is Volcan Moses. He's now a pastor, I think, doing pastoral work in Nimule. He always dressed nicely, and he is always sitting among the big people. So I think when you dress nicely in occasion, you don't have to be afraid to approach somebody who's elderly. But I mean, when you dress nicely, of course, the first thing is they will look at your face, the way how you dress, then they expect you to be somebody who is highly educated. So that way, I think you're going to be able to have connection. By doing so, you can also ask their telephone number or email address, and then afterwards, you can connect to them. I remember my younger brother, one of the day during the part-time of Governor J2 of Eastern Equatoria, I think he came to Pageri. This is a guy who studied building construction in Yole Institution in Arua. And so people sat down and people were making introduction. He made introduction. He said, I'm an engineer, Moko, and yet he's not an engineer. So this guy was given a job in Tori because of that eloquentness, and also he's able to present himself. So I think for you students, you should be able to present yourself in high gatherings, go to somebody, introduce yourself. I'm so
confidence matters.
Yeah, that way I think. Yeah. So Emmanuel, I want to ask to shift the gear to leadership. This is now the helmet you're wearing. You are maybe student chairperson in Kigali. Leadership does not just come like that. When you are elected to become a leader, that means people have seen something good in you. You're able to guide them. You're able to give them advice. You're able to encourage them at the time of difficulties. Of course, I know you guys are very far away from home. When you run out of finances, you don't have nowhere to turn to. So as a leader, the rest of the students are expecting you to be their brothers' caretakers, meaning financially you have to support them, advice you have to give to them, that advice. So what would be your advice as a student leader to the people you are leading in this regards of job employments?
Can you pardon me on the question?
What would be your personal advice as their leader to them, because others could be very weak, they will not be able to finish the journey?
the journey of education, right?
The journey of education, the hurdles of getting job employment back home in South Sudan or elsewhere.
Yeah, thank you. Like, one thing, leadership and challenges, it is usually like 5 and 6.
Hmm.
There is a lot of challenges that as a leader you face. And if you're a leader, if you do not face any challenge, that means you're not a leader. Because any leader, as a leader, you have to be ready for any challenges, and people also rely on you for solutions. People rely on you for solutions, even though you don't have the solution, but you need to. But they trust you. They trust you that you are their solution, and you'll be able to provide their solution. Well, the advice that I can give to them, most especially to my people here, the one here who are studying in Rwanda and also others in Uganda and other parts of the world, what I can tell them is, let's not give up. Let's not give up. Let's continue with the journey. Because the journey is usually so tiresome. It is usually so tiresome. You'll end up you'll feel like giving up, but giving up is not the option. Giving up is not the option that we have right now. The option that we have is to win, to wear that gown, and also maybe to go and face the outer world there, to go and face the outer world in terms of employment opportunities or in other things. Thank you.
As a student leader of Madi Student Association Kigali, I said it before that they look up to you for so many things. It's not necessary that there could be some Madi student associations elsewhere in the world, but I'm very sure we have Madi Youth Association in Australia, in America, possible in Canada, but not in Europe. Are you connected to this Madi Youth Association so that maybe in any way you guys are able to exchange ideas about studies, about job employment, and anything that is affecting us Madi people? Because we are preparing you guys for leaders of tomorrow.
Well, thank you on that question. Like, we haven't connected. We haven't yet connected with them because our community here in Rwanda, it has just been formed of the recent, but we are building the connection still. We are still building the connection, and I believe in few months time to come, we shall be able to have that connection. We shall be able to connect with them, so that we can be able to discuss the things affecting the Madi community generally, in South Sudan, in Australia, in Canada, in America, in Europe, even in Africa here. We can be able to discuss the issues that we are suffering, the issues that we are facing. But as per now, we haven't yet connected to them because the community has been formed of the recent. We just, we have just started showing up.
Okay. I think it would be good for you to have connections so that maybe after when you leave the campus, there could be some other more Madi coming, and then they will continue to build up from there. Let me ask you more about these leadership things. There are Madi Student Association in Gulu University. I know that for sure. These are associations that combine the two Madi together, Madi South Sudan, Madi Uganda. They work as one body. There could also be some Madi Student Association in other university within Uganda. Do you guys have connections of network among the leadership yourself?
Not really. As I told you, like the community has been open in the recent months. More especially, it has been active in the month of January, but we haven't yet connected with the virus leaders. But the leaders that we have, started getting in touch with them, more especially is this one, the chairman of MAWA, which is Chairman Joseph Gama, and also the people that we also do connect with. It is this one, the Madi Hubs, which is managed by Mr. Martin. But with the leaders of Madi Student Association in other universities, we haven't yet connected with them.
Recently, when you look back what is happening back in Madiland or South Sudan as a whole, I think the unemployment within the youth is quite higher. Some of the youth resulted in riding border. Not that because they wanted to be a border rider, but because of the situation. Are you, as a leader, when you are going into your bed to sleep, do you have dream how you would like the youth of South Sudan, particularly the Madi youth, to be like? I'm asking you, you're not holding any leadership because I know there is a Madi Youth Association in Juba, but this organization does not include all the Madis. You talk about MAWA in Juba. This is Madi Welfare Association, taking care of Madi community in Juba. Yet the mainstream of Madis are living in Madiland or in the refugee camp. What is your dream for Madi youth in particular?
My dream for the Madi youths is to see them taking on even, like mostly they need to focus on the part of the leadership. I need them also to be there, like seeing them, maybe the future ministers, future ambassadors. That's where I'm hoping to see them. That's where I'm hoping to see them.
Let us talk about advocacy. You keep on telling me that the organization started recently. And as a leader of Madi Student Association, Kigali University, they're expecting you, I am expecting you, when there is a government delegation coming to visit the student, you should be among the student leadership to advocate for the issue of Madi Youth Association. Do you and your cabinet in any way have that in mind? Maybe one time, maybe the ambassador of South Sudan in Rwanda will be visiting the student, then you are going to be able to present your petition to him about the needs of Madi student in Kigali.
Yeah, sure. If that day comes, if the ambassador, because right now even we don't have the ambassador of South Sudan to Rwanda. Right now we don't have. The person who is representing us is the ambassador for Uganda, the ambassador of South Sudan to Uganda. But if that time comes, I will be gladly to go with my cabinet and to go and meet the ambassador and explain the needs of the Madi students, of the Madi Student Association in Rwanda. I'll be gladly. I'll be so glad to do that.
Right. Let me ask you on skill training, because in the beginning you talk about skill training. What practical skill do you think students should develop before graduations, and how?
Well, the skill which I think students should be able to practice, it is this one: electronics. Electronics, it is also what we need. And this one, mechanics. This one, mechanic in that part of engineering, and also this one, martial. Because those are the things that we also need in our country. Sometimes when you end up not getting employed, you can be able to do something. You can be able to sustain your life if you also focus on that part of, martial, of building, or even in that part of electronic, being an electrician or being a mechanic. You can be able to sustain your life with the little that you'll get from there.
I want to ask you on the questions of internship or field work. There are chances given to students to go and practice what they learn from classrooms. In case of South Sudan, the institutions are still not yet there. And sometimes when you are going to internship, it may be exposed to so many things. That means you are going to acquire fresh skill, but also you are going to be bearing a lot of workload because people who are working there would be leaving you doing the job alone. And
Yeah.
how important it is, how important is internship and voluntary work in gaining experience for someone like you?
Yeah. Internship is very important. Like most, if it comes to my part, and also to the students, to the side of the students, it is usually so important because it prepares you. It prepares you for the market labor. So I can say internship is very important because it prepares one for the job market labor.
How about voluntary work to gain experience? Because I don't know, since we began to talk, I did not ask you precisely what you're studying. Let us say that you're doing ICT, or maybe you are doing something concerned about business administrations. You need to have that voluntary time so that you gain experience, because most job markets, when you apply for job employment opportunity, may be finding that they are looking for someone who already has 5 years experience in that particular field, 10-year experience. So the competition is going to eliminate you out because you don't have this experience. But if you offer yourself to do the voluntary work like 6 months, that will add up on your CV. So how important it is to do voluntary job to gain experience.
Well, I'm sorry when I introduced the course that I do in the beginning when we began the interview, and I'm a student of law.
Okay.
A student doing law course. So voluntary work is also very important because all of us, when we are growing up, even me myself, when I was growing up, I also did some voluntary work, more especially in this part of building. Like when they were building our house, also I managed also to fix myself there as a volunteer. Working there just to gain some experience. So voluntary work also sometimes it is very good because it helps one to gain experience.
Now that I know what you're studying, let me ask you particular on this. Why do you choose to go for law? Because this is very dangerous career all over the world. There are lawyers being assassinated all over the world. Recently, the prosecutors of ICC International Criminal Court has been accused of sexual misconduct. And so the lawyers and prosecutors, people who are working within the law societies, are always being targeted. And given the country of South Sudan, still there are no proper law that guides the rights of lawyers, and everything can be solved by, let us say, we fought for this, or maybe I'm the one who's carrying the gun. So why do you choose to go for law studies?
Well, the reason why I chose this course, because I've seen a lot of things that are happening in our country. And sometimes when I just also lie on my bed, when I think about the things which are happening, the unfairness, there is lack of equality. Everything about home there, it is unfair. So as a law student or as a future advocate, we want to set things right. We want to let there be a rule of law. Let there be a rule of law. I entered in this course knowing very well. I know people end up getting, more especially lawyers, they end up getting assassinated. I entered there fully ready for the consequence, for the outcomes. And I'm not scared of anything that will come and happen. I'm not scared of anything that will come and happen. I'm just going there to do my work, and to enforce the rule of law into our country. because the things which are happening there. People say that, like, I remember this one, Bob Wine used to say that Uganda is bleeding, but what I can say, it is South Sudan that is bleeding. It is South Sudan that is bleeding. And if you don't speak up, the same things will continue. Even our children will come and face the same things. So we need to put a stop to that, and we need to ensure that there is a rule of law in our country for it to prosper.
One thing we did not talk about, and I want us to address, is when you say the gap between the young and the old, there is generational gap already. There are those who are holding posts that they were supposed to be retiring from, but they are not giving it up. They are not going to retire from that. So, and the new generation is coming ambitious. They want to take over.
Yeah.
And in between, there is a conflict of interest because the older think, okay, we liberated this country, and as such, we would like to continue to eat the fruit of our struggle. So when is going to be the time for the youth to take over from the old generation?
Well, what I can say on that, because now the older people, they have failed us. The older people, they have failed us. Because what they did, they liberated the country, and yeah, we give thanks for that. But now we need this one, economic independence, and they failed to bring that. So let them give chance. Let them give chance to the youth, so that the youth can be able to, to do something good. And what I can say, like, the time for the youth will come if the youth become united. If they become united, and if they say enough is enough to our musees, if they say enough is enough to our musees, then I'm pretty sure the youth will be able to take up the youth will be able to take it up. But if the youths are not united, then it cannot happen. Because unity is what the youths need, so that they can be able to replace the older people.
On the coconut tree, there are so many coconut fruit, and it will take a while for one coconut fruit to fall down. And when we are waiting for the elder people to go, maybe if they refuse to go voluntarily, if we want them to live at the time of God's given nature, by the time maybe one fruit will fall, you, the young generation, could have also get old. So how long are we going to wait for this? Because you said, if the youth decided to say enough is enough, and when is that enough is enough going to be?
Well, there's, most especially in that point, I cannot get deep into that, because if I end up speaking, I might end up getting into problems. So,
so there is enough is enough.
No, enough is enough has to be there, because if enough is not there, then we, the youth, we shall continue suffering. We shall continue suffering. Then we shall just only be complaining. We shall just end up complaining, raising complaints every day complaining.
Okay.
And sometimes too much complaining is not good. We need to put also action. Action has to be implemented, because if an action is there, they might end up getting scared that these youths of ours are serious. They are very serious. Then they might end up, stepping down. But some of the things I will not go deep into that, because
Okay. Let us talk about Madi leadership. So I'm very sure this is not going to land you into hot water. If there's
no.
if there's any
No,
Madi
there are other
leadership,
people.
uh-huh.
There are
If
other
there's
people who might end up, taking things so personal with me.
Yeah.
There are people who might end up, taking things so personal with me. Even me, before me even reaching to South Sudan, they might end up, planning now on me.
I do not want you to expect, to swim in that hot water. What is that is keeping us to stick on leadership for quite a long time without relinquishing power? I'm not going to talk about politics, but when you look at the leadership of Madi, Mawa, for example, recently only last year they had first elections. Maya, I wrote some article I posted on Mari TV Facebook how Maya started. Maya started in 90s in the refugee camp in Oguji, but I don't know whether that time you were born. It was started with Lapongi Matthew Okot. Matthew Okot has been the head teachers of our Pageringa Refugee Secondary School. So this is how Maya started. And when people went back to home after 2007, I think Maya has been transferred into Juba, and it ended up in the leadership of those leaders in Juba for years that have been holding Maya hostage. So why do you think that when people climb into the ladders of leadership, they are hard to relinquish their power? Not only on Maya alone, this also happened in the institution of churches in Madi and some small areas, village leaders and things like that. When people reach up there, it is very difficult to bring them down. Why?
Well, what I can say on that point, is usually people tend to stick into leadership, more especially into the position that they have been given. They usually stick for too long because sometimes there is benefits. You know, someone cannot stick in a place where there is no benefits. But if there is benefit in that position where he is, he will end up, sticking on it. Because if he comes down, the same benefit, the same privilege that he has been getting before, he will not get it again.
So
So
are
that's what
you
I can say.
are you one of them going to stick into student leadership? Suppose you are not graduating next year.
No, I want to give chance to my successors. I want to give them also chance. Let them also try to test. Let them also try to test this one, leadership, how it is. Let them also try to get experience on leadership. Because what we need future leaders. So we cannot be able to stick in the same position while there are also other people who are capable also to be in that position where you are. You also have to give chance to the people. Also let them try to gain that experience.
Emma, if there is anything that you would like to see change from the transitions of our student into employment opportunities, what would that be in South Sudan?
Well, like I beg you to repeat the question again. I beg you to repeat the question.
If there is anything that you dream of change in South Sudan for students like you, from classroom to the transitions of job employments, that is so hard for fresh students like you to be employed, what would that be? In other words, what area of changes do you want to see to make it very easy for students to get employment opportunities without connections, without tribalism, without nepotism in South Sudan?
Well, on that question, it is really a hard question to answer. But what I can say, if there is a rule of law in our country, everything will work straight. Everything will work straight without nepotism, without favorism. Everything will work straight on the straight line.
Not every student is going to be successful on this path of getting job employments. What would be your advice to those who may be discouraged along the roads without finishing the race?
Yeah, thank you. Like, it is also not everyone that who will be seated in the classroom will make it through the course that they are doing. For example, I'm a student of law. I might end up, not focused on this one. I might end up, not focused on the department that I studied, on the course that I studied. I might, end up, on another path, on another path. But what I can tell them is, let's not give up. I know it is hard, but let us not give up.
During the 80s war, when we were kids, there was one particular man called Ogoto. Ogoto is a Cholimadi. This guy is horrible, he's terrible, he's disgusting, he's worse than Joseph Kony of Uganda. And so sometime when you hear the news, Ogoto is coming, my dad will tell us to go and send the cows and the sheep into the bushes so that Ogoto will not come and steal. And the following day, they will tell us, Tobo, Angugore Sako Dikochera, Tobo is very heavy rains. It may rain, everybody will be caught inside the house without food, but anciently people will wait, then the rain will stop. When the rain stops, people will get out. A friend of mine, when I was a teacher in a Lere Resource Center Primary School, he's Madi from Germany. This guy was stuck in Khartoum for so many years when the Ugandan refugees were returning to Uganda in 92. And he said to me, every day they would be coming to the gate of UN with the kids, staying there. He read Bible from Genesis to Revelation more than 10 times. And that gave him hope. And what gives you hope that things are going to be better in South Sudan? What is the hope of young people like you? As we, the elder people, we think that, okay, time is running out for us. We're not going to enjoy the fruit of this country. What gives you hope?
Well, on the side of hope, of course, like not only the elder people that are running out of hope, also us, the young people, some of us have already also ran out of hope. But we are still having that belief that one day, just one day, everything will be all right. Everything will be all right. And the fruits of the country, all of us we shall be able to benefit. We're just having that hope. One day, everything will be okay.
Did you grow up in the refugee camp or maybe in the village, or you grew up in Juba?
Well, I grew up in Juba, but most of my studies, it was in Uganda. During the civil war of 2013, that's when I left to Uganda for studies.
Unlike you, I was born in Uganda during the war of 1966. My parents came to Uganda. I was born in the Moyo district. And when the agreement was signed, I was very little. They took me back to Loa. And when we went back to Loa, we don't know that Loa is a home for us. And sometimes when we hear the helicopter flying over us, we could be running, hiding, and a lot of things. And when we see the Arabs, because the Arab soldiers were stationed at Loa still at the time, we are afraid because we have never seen people of that color. And so we grew up in between hope and hopeless situations. Life in the refugee camp is very hard. And sometimes when the people of my age mates, we gather together, we remember how we go during the time of peace, we go to the river Nile to feast. And sometimes during the dry season, how we make our forono for kayata.
Sure.
To
I
cook.
know that. I know.
And during the dry season, how you play your dinio and mopira and all these sort of things. So we grew up having a lot of memories. The memories that young generation like you could not have. I know in Rwanda University there could be different tribe, or if not all the 64 tribes of South Sudan. So when you people sit together, what are the focus of discussion regarding the situation of South Sudan?
Well, you really touched the part that I like the most, because I'm also a student who likes this one, who likes politics so much. I like politics so much, but due to the country, to the situation that we are facing into the country there, when you speak up, you might end up, getting erased. So as a young man who's not having the connection, who's not yet even a figure which is well known in the whole of South Sudan, I tend to keep other things to myself. But the focus that we are usually, the discussions that we are usually having, maybe when we are seated with the members from other tribes, not only the Madi, which are in Rwanda. Also, I have some friends from the Nuer, from the Shuluk, from the Bari, from the Pujulu, and also from other communities, to mention by the few. So our focus, it is usually on the unity. We are usually discussing about our own unity. Our own unity. Because unity is the thing that we really need right now. That's the thing that we need. Because without unity, other things cannot come into existence. So what our main focus is the unity. And also, but we also have other discussion that we do conduct, which I'm not going to mention here. Other discussion, more special about the government, that we also be discussing about, which I will not be mentioning here. But the thing that I can be able to mention, it is this one, unity. That's what we usually focus on.
Now, when they say unity is power, it's not just literal unity is power. When you see the small insects, they are very tiny. They are very small, they are very tiny, but they can carry very big grasshoppers because they join hands together. So when we join hands together, the hurdles before us, we shall be able to overcome them. 2010, there was a brief conflict between the Madis and the Cholis.
Yes.
And that time around, I came home. I say, why is this happening? And I questioned myself, because the churches were also very, very afraid to do dialogue. And I knew a lot about Choli from a Gojo refugees camp. We were from the same church of AIC. We went together to Alera SS. And after this day, after more than 30 years, I can still remember their name: Franco, Gerard, Wani, Deacon, Charles Deacon, Makionan, all these names I remember. I say, would these people, if I travel along Tori Magui Road, if they capture me, they will kill me? Definitely, I don't think that they will kill me. I think unity is essential. We need that unity.
Sure.
All whatever problem we are going through, we can only overcome when we are united. I'm very glad you are sitting 100%. In a capital city of a country that have gone and seen a genocide that South Sudan have never witnessed. So I think you guys should be using these opportunities to interact with the Rwandan students, Rwandan elders, Rwandan politicians, so that this knowledge, how they overcome their differences today, they are living as one single united country, and Rwanda developed so much, so that this information, this tangible information can be taken to South Sudan. After that, we shall be having one united Sudan. South Sudan, not 64 tribe. 64 tribe would be our identity, but the first identity should be Sudanese, South Sudanese. I was in a church a week or two ago. I emphasize about this very much. So, Emmanuel, to finish with, do you enjoy football?
Well, football, I usually do not engage in that side of football, but when there is a tournament that has been organized, more especially, we do conduct some tournaments here, because I know football is something that, usually bring people together. Football events like football, or maybe even culture programs. Those are the things which are usually conducted here. So, because what we need a united South Sudanese. We need a united South Sudanese. Though we still have that mentality of, fighting. Sometimes we fight sometimes the people fight among themselves. more especially even here in this side of Rwanda, people fight among themselves. But what we need is the unity. So when they organize something like the football, I usually go and watch it. I go and watch it. And when I see my fellows, they are very happy, rejoicing. When they end up, beating a team or something like that, I also get excited. But football, like being that fan of football, I'm not that big fan. But just for the sake of unity, I'm there because that's what we need.
I asked you that because today is the final of World Cup between Spain and Argentina. So,
My team is already out. My team is out.
Which team
France
were
is
you
already
supporting?
out. France.
They were humiliated yesterday for 4-6, so that is a very big defeat. So
For sure, I'm not that happy about that.
what is your projection and what are you going to predict? Which team is going to win? Is it Argentina or Spain?
Well, what I can say, because Argentina and Spain, those are the teams that I don't support. The teams which I support is this one. I used to support France, England, and Morocco plus Portugal, and all of them are now out. All of the teams that I used to support, they are now all out. So, and my prediction will be Spain.
Right.
I do believe Spain is 100% going to take the cup, the World Cup.
I'm
They're going to be
supporting
the
Spain.
champions.
I'm supporting Spain too, but my gut is telling me that when you look at the quality of players of Argentina, also given that I think 3 times they came from 3 downs, then they end up winning. We talk about here unities. Football is all about working together. It doesn't matter who's going to score, but you have to plan, you have to execute on time. So when you say in terms of experience, I think the Argentina player are much more experienced. And also in terms of physical ability, I think they are much more stronger compared to most of the people from the side of Spain. I think that is all what I can say. Yeah.
But also to add up on that, sometimes experience sometimes does not matter. As long as the people that you're working with, as long as you can be able to understand yourselves, you can be able to make it. You can be able to make a difference.
Yes, well.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, Imad, thank you very much for these very important times that we had here together. Now, let me give you the opportunities to give your summaries on the subject that we discussed here. Thank you.
Well, I will not have much to say because a lot has been said already. And for sure, it has really been a great interview and a great honor to be here live on Madi TV. It is really an honor for me to be here. Though it is my first time to conduct an online interview, like this, but I know next time I'm hoping just for the best. And what I can say to the youths of South Sudan and the youths of Madi, particularly those ones of Madi, is let's stay united. Because what we really need now in the Madi land, it is unity. We need unity because a lot of things are happening there. A lot of bad things are happening there. Migrants are coming there to take over our places because there is lack of unity. So we need to stay united and we should not be afraid of defending the right side. We should not be afraid of defending the right side. We should always stick to the right. And though you're one individual who's supporting the right side, you should not be afraid that if I end up supporting this one and there is no one with me, I might end up getting into problems. You should not think like that. You should speak up for your rights. for the case of the job opportunities. I know everything will be okay. For the students, let's not give up. I know the system in our country, it has been designed, more especially for the youths, to suffer. But let's not give up. Let's continue with whatever that we are doing, whatever courses that we are studying. Let's continue to study. And I know one day, one time, we shall be able to get that dream job that we have been dreaming about since our childhood. And we shall be able to get it. And let peace and unity lead. Thank you.
Manchong Yokosi, thank you very much for your summaries, with everything here. And I'm looking very forward to hire you as my lawyer. So I wish you all the best of luck with your studies and the graduations and all the Madi students and South Sudanese students as whole in Rwanda. And I hope maybe time will allow us to sit here again after maybe your graduation to see when you are packing your bag going home, we shall be talking about that journey. So thank you. Angi Amanda Karemi Biga Seri Mara Madu Handala Seremancho Angi. Very unfortunately, and I'm so tamadi tisikoro. Madizila, they are also anola manera. Amakiza yangi disi. Ke amabiara pola garisi tabani mudiara. Amabiala sa koyo tamadi tisi. Possible, I think, amata juburu no tisara. Masari karaka de ado kumke sule soni ba pagasi ya sini ama ba mwezo tadia burulo tisi. So go anjo posi. Anjo hangitwa do posi. Ya jiba hangito.
Madi TV. Parane vosotri e.
Amurata lualuti, itaru leka kumandeli tukomba. Tasbikari gairira, amara sioko yikurusi, olieti kimadia, ubangi blesi madira, tonyi madini koiwa, ongonyi madiko, ile madini koyikapwe, piana taritere ringirinda, ibule bandera, ole kiwika yenyanga, amiyota italita, Mugali bandera, ole kiwika yenyanga, amiyota italita, yopinyere ya mawane. Loa bandera, ole kiwika yenyanga, amiyota italita, yopinyere ya mawane. Arabi bandera, ole kiwika yenyanga, amiyota italita, yopinyere ya mawane. Bageri bandera, ole kiwika yenyanga, amiyota italita, yopinyere ya mawane. Gerepi bandera, ole kiwika yenyanga, amiyota italita, yopinyere ya mawane. Oli bandera, ole kiwika yenyanga, amiyota italita, yopinyere ya mawane. Opari bandera, ole kiwika yenyanga, amiyota italita, yopinyere ya mawane. Ile kikebe kenze, ebukiru anu, jole kibawa niziku, bakengwi awi akuta madi arindutu, mawe wanidi, okoye kakado. Okoda di imami ikusanya bonzibi. Amina di oli ale amabu yamadi androa. Yamadi di yole kiechika. Awe tiru bakodi bayanda. Banza kaditi kabi amindaka. Rumanda indari amele jala wita barude. Ubango yo, aba madeseko, elo madiku, undru madiku, aba madeseko, elo madiku, undru madiku, aba ya madise, ale alo, ewe ya madika. Abileki anduru madirisi, ale alo.
Anja hoposi la longolo so combo krudi akila kiva madisa lo alosi Ma qui dia longa so halu I play kasi.
Chedengwa kombu wende de, chedengwa kombu wende de, chedengwa kombu wende de. Ayo jomani ambalukani wawa matika dina bukbe, jomani ambakalu kowa matika dina bukbe. Toto kameti diya mazora ni kwitonye nere, ajumani kameti diya mazora ni kwitonye nere. Yebunyanga sinyiri kuru, lere tema nini tinirani, disi amatura nema beyasi, ijota kwenya tipesa landia, amige ni ebidelo tieri kefuangwe kusake dulolu, mige ni muzinye do, niri nate, madi konye jura alete nai. Yiri kinyo akokuresi, yata diaru, ajumani ori, yegwerile kudiaru, amenigira. Oro bigi di madina, oro pretty kopirusi, ile kinyi dopina drali, tukende deresa tu banyindretro, brijade kopiru, banyere madeare katindende, brijade kopiru, wesinende katindende, yanende. Oli kolo amani la ruke jonyinere. Generale muzesi ale kolo amani la ruke jonyinere. Ale ni wika ni wio. Batinya pa otukana si obabiko. Batinya pa otukana si obabiko. Chedengwa kombu wende de. Chedengwa kombu wende de. Chedengwa kombu wende de. Ijo daleki dele tieta, madiera more nyebirese. Ijo tatidi atieta, madiera more nyebirese. Ijo ta idioti dimbesa kure ikarite. Aye atumane kwijo district muzekyo yanaye. Nyita yoni akabi konyi buyu gada ni dudu. Nyita yoni akabi konyi madini dudu. Nyita yoni akawe sinelini konyi bendu. Sukale Johnny Ambanyese, Johnny yo amabo, ayetenerali yese, Johnny yo amabo, Runyiri tenerali, ota magili yaiki iruti, Runyiri muzesine, ota magili yaiki iruti, awanyere larope apeti kopero, la iri larope apeti kopero, Ayo jomadi ambalukani wawa batika dina bukbe, jomadi ambakalu kowa batika dina bukbe. Toto kameti diya mazora ni kwitonye nere, ajumani kameti diya mazora ni kwitonye nere. Yebunyanga sinyiri kuru, lere tema nini tinirani, disi amatura nema beyasi, ijota kwenya tipesa landia, amige ni ebidelo tieri kefuangwe kusake dulolu, mige ni muzinye do, niri nate, madi konye jura alete nai. Atumani wasi edele nyine ya yentera ni ija. Ale asireka angwarunya tubale na nyide kili mekito. Aye adenero dru, pigara lenero dru kane. Musenero dru, pigara robanga koka. Enga maize kili mbeke, amane de kili mbeke, jara de kili mbeke, ale kode kili mbeke na ko. Ataro yo kili mbeke, amane ya kili mbeke ni kodro. You're killing me, I'm killing me, you're killing me, I'm killing me, opposite the killing me, I'm killing me, I do my down, I'm killing me, Ayo jomadi ambalukani wawa batika dina bukbe, jomadi ambakalu kowa batika dina bukbe. Toto kameti diya mazora ni kwitonye nere, ajumani kameti diya mazora ni witonye nere kunyanga sinyiri koro nere tema nini tinirani isi amatura na mabeyasi iyota kwenya tipesa labia amige ni ebidelo tieri ke fuangwe kusake dulolu mige ni musei nyedo niri nate madi koye joro alete
Anjo posi. Anjo posi. Longod yaneka bana site lai lo. Amba go ajuko General Moses Aleni deta madia gayado. Ma privilege mimitiani very rusi. Last time mimitiani 2018. Mokologasi ma ndidi baru. Mimitani ambani ya ti mimitani 2003 si amesurani to ndeke anga openyeji si ama ya ndeke Eagle si Kampala. Or ndeke ama sama amari bararu muse duo domana sipi na the first encounter so jo baradi ingama barangwa ingama baragana sipi o doma pio ni kudima sama kwa dio kolongoa ya rijo ndeke anane wadi na mi travel mundo toki single ma out ani drosi jamari ana baragala si ma threat dia ni kuya uduna enka hani uniform toruga na disisu walo commander sa ado kenda mana sa ani Northern section ga drama mi counter ni 2018 si imba harosi ma jokarani mandi dibaru mokolo amandre ana convoy kemu atija do lead car ndinai aruna jesi na ngwa torini dra and barike to ajumandi ni kola dama pesa mandi ojo no na mangako na sano lani ki introduce mamu zeni torini dra ngwa echa achari jena komi plastic de aniring komi na dieru rade ado angba na hado comedy na nge suru na disoda de yor ilo kita izuka azira to disigba tazila kana wadisi yama ani dikori yama loss insecurity kosangana yani yohoka ra moa isuma ana advisor political advisor lima andi nadibaru draman dieojo laka di ma barani zama dia baru fola gari durere ni ke madi loasi ota ikari mari loasi dembe musea mi awiro ojo ancho posi ni madi baru yang agidi baru anda kinya ditu de limit charo simaya loana office basi o kamani fangi balware da tito mario lo chagana imbawata loso acha sani zire kwa mweda mane tanche kojo lejo angidi dradini sauce tari particular madia ndole ni mule redi ba evukevu bati ni new influx ke ngasika zako mavama gojo deni ngasika zako mavama skera zeba da flash yani mule sipi di ununa ngata musea jole manere lejo amadi sauce tani kare ni mule particular ba influx bati ke waska askera zeda ba di flash na out so musene moria kodi ni kwa nini vision incha ta jumane ne ko ola ni konde ba madi sauce tani kare avo dado ba evokenga kakare lolugana ngole new influx of ware lakadi kola bari konga pia siko jo pelere jo ba evokevo de lor ki fo madi nimule gariga madi sodan gariga egbe kolokwe ongo ajumane saka egbe sope de feri mimeti muzeni ani madi visionary ani kamari ni ndese hall anata jore di tonda ajumane na kuki wala madi South Sudan gari sando ani madi ki work for unitary and a very humble person bazi losi onda ni rusikoro counter ani koro losa na ado batina tonginde losi njo kanda ni madi ngari ki ani kata jo very softly and madi bala rendore so very unfortunately adiani hold forever nipe lidi nandi ani madingi swadi tia koso data ya do ani madini loteri ta jumane garute ko ni ani oteta Uganda garute ko ni ani Africa gar as a whole funditu sangu ni anira ana legacy ni kole kolo bani tadu songo songi ankora di ojo vo zokadie de sinanisi joda eyo bako kolo dingo ni challenges madini ri anda masita dia mi posita museum vocational basi koso apa basi do criticize ka kendo apia ngwani pidi question to ask all them adi is adi kama dia tampani adi kede anani rini madizi ocho bolo ika madia ga kede museum vocational ga jojo ta kende songa ngojo rani odungurusa madizi kere wa Kampala Ghana idisa yo uduku madidi ni omu silent lajini ane atakato uduku madiari omu silent lajini ana last breed na breed kato uduku madiari omu silently ana vibe kasi so akilegi legacy anidi ni kolo bani lofuga amande sa bachiri Israeli di museo chari koda li demo ena po kiro pangaji museo replacement ni arisko museo ri bachiri Israeli di li rekiocha promise lari gakoro omoichi Joshua ni de kararu and walora ni ajugo amadimo sisali numpi ya kile girubanko kwebani Joshua ni kama dini ji kare andagari diga kama dia mo karalo kawari akilegi familia ni disi akilegi rum madiri ni bado au sini rubanko kabani ana replacement ya madien yere kana mvukasori holo anani ko ki madisi yakoba ratema madiri so andagari he promised bridge la ropidi very unfortunately opungwane la ropia bridge ri bikani ndekako migeni te kori yosa tatiana balera katasa na sanlerari madise yo de dieruko somanjo anyoposi dani dini te kaza familia ni dini ko dani dini kaza rwangeto madiri ni paro te Islam community ko sanu bia community ajuman raru te ko dani dini kaza ro madiri ni paro so akile giopi kompa familia ndieta wapi kimba madina city manjo anyoposi amewisi angeni la somaro ni Garrison amuda bye bye